Hello, I am Gina Vance. Welcome to SMGI, Somatic, Mindful, Guided Imagery, a substance-free medicine. In this episode, let's discuss with Gina the somatic, soma, which means body, aspect of SMGI. In all traditional cultures, body, mind, and soul are interconnected aspects of a holistic system. Balance and harmony between these three are essential for our overall wellness and health. However, for the past 2 centuries, medical establishment and most of us find it difficult to bring the mind to the body, as if we do it that way, the illness in the body becomes unreal, unscientific, or sort of it becomes not legitimate. It looks like this great divide between mind and body seems to have started in the 17th century when René Descartes had to make a quirky turf deal with Pope to get the human bodies for dissection. Basically, he agreed with the church that anything to do with mind, emotions, or soul are under church's jurisdiction and he will not interfere. So if he gets the human body to do experiments, then the physical body's claims that he finds will be his own. This divide seems to have continued for the past 2 centuries. Recently, religion and science are coming together. Candace Pert, a neuroscientist, in a book, Molecules of Emotion, says, virtually all diseases, if not psychosomatic in foundation, have a psychosomatic component. Psycho is mind or soul. Somatic is body. So all our illnesses seems to have this mind and the body connection. That is my lived experience too. So let's discuss with Gina how she brings the body and mind together in her SMGI. So Gina, it's lovely and it's a joy as always to meet you again. This week I was thinking we could touch on the soma, the somatic part of the SMGI. Mm-hmm. Last week you did bring us to the whole, what is SMGI, the somatic, the mindfulness guided imagery. And if we start explaining more about how the somatic, the body part, is such a core part for SMGI, that'll be wonderful, I thought. The reason is because I, as an Indian, come from a tradition where our lifestyle medicine, which we call Ayurveda, we're trained in body and mind are connected. Like they say, the disease happens in 2 ways. One, it starts in your mind and then manifests in your body as a symptom, and then the body gets the disease. Or the food that you eat, it's not the right food or not digested properly, and that creates disease in the mind. So they cannot separate body and mind in any of our treatment traditionally, but that over time we lost it. And here I am in Australia in the Western world, and I'm trained totally in this Western world way of thinking. And it's so easy to go out and get a medicine, an outside medicine, swallow it, and expect my body to get fixed. It's so alien to me. And when I found SMGI, one of the things that really resonated for me is, wow, she's connecting me to my body finally. I don't know how to connect, by the way. It took some time, but I'm so happy to go in there. It's as if going back to my roots in a different way, in my own traditions. Today, if you could explain that a bit more in detail and your experience of the body-mind connection, that'll be really so helpful for audiences, Gina.
Yeah. Well, what's coming to mind first is that for most of my life, I was very disconnected from my body. My body was where all of my pain and fears were stored. My body was a source of pain when I was experiencing violence growing up. So I really preferred to be up and away and out of my body in my loftier states. And it wasn't until my body called me inwards because I had excruciating pain that I learned how to first be with my body in a non-resistant way, non-threatening and non-demanding. And then over time, as just being with my body in that way eased the pain, then I began to experience the glories of being embodied, being able to smell the beautiful blossoms I could see, being able to feel the beauty around me, being able to receive the warm fuzzies of the warm embrace. But from what I consider a spiritual standpoint, my body is critical to my soul's experience and expression. It's critical. It's the vehicle. It's the thing. However, most of us, because of our experiences in life and because of our culture, we have been encouraged, to put it mildly, to keep our attention up above the neck, so to speak, and much in our left brain and also in our survival instincts they do come from our body, but those have been the predominant. The left brain, analytical, figure things out, understand what are the rules, how do I get it right, what does it all mean, and then really feeling victimized by those survival responses in the body. So usually it starts out with a conflict, resistance to the messages from the body. And so in SMGI, I have been shown how significant the body is in helping us connect to information, to our soul, to our spirit, to the wisdom in our heart brain and our belly brain, to the remedy for whatever ails us. Whatever it is that we want to change, grow, or diminish, it's through the body that we can connect to all the wisdom that is in us, as well as the wisdom in the collective. So the body turns out to be key, and it is the way in. It's the way in a different way than other modalities of meditation or journeying, where it tends to be up and out. So with somatic mindful guided imagery, it's down and in. And it turns out that's very soulful. So in Michael Mead's work,
because I have this question when you said to be in the pain in the body, and I was thinking, I don't want to be there. How did you learn to be there?
I didn't want to be there. Yeah.
That's why we all escape. We want to go somewhere in the mind out of that. So when you bring your attention back into the body and there is pain, it's difficult to hold ourselves there. Mm-hmm. So how long do I have to hold if I do SMGI in that discomfort? It's quite scary. Like personally, yes, I don't want to go into the discomfort.
Of course you don't. So the part of the answer is you don't have to do anything with SMGI. Okay. That's part of its magic. And when we begin the process, we're helping you to connect to pleasant sensations in your body, even if there's just one, if there's only a pleasant sensation in your pinky finger, right? Okay. In the tip of it, that's the only place you have a sense. But so it's a different experience with your body, where you are moving your attention in and you are connecting to an easy, pleasant experience. It's not painful and not frightening. And you can experience what's called a dual experience, meaning that you could have pain in the moment. And then when you take your attention inwards in the SMGI way and connect and allow something that feels good to come into your awareness, then as you immerse your attention in what has come into your awareness, your biology can live that experience. At the same time, there might be a part of your body that is in pain. And in that moment, you experience a choice. You're not simply a victim of the pain, but you can be experiencing the pain at the same time being experience something pleasurable or stabilizing, whatever is most beneficial for you. That's what
So
the
beautifully
intention is.
explained. I would have never thought to do that. So beautifully
Yeah, me.
explained that we do have that capability, and through your SMGI guidance, that we're not identifying with the pain in the body, even though there is a pain. What you're explaining, if I'm right, the way I understood, at the same time, I'm experiencing a good feeling in my body. So I have a choice. I have two experiences in the body at the same time. One may be a pain in the body, another a good feeling in some part of the body. And the SMGI is guiding me to connect more to the good feeling and
Yeah.
go further into the journey, taking that as an anchor. Am I understanding it right, Gina?
Yes, beautifully
I
put.
would love to
And
experience that. Yeah.
well, and that gets you ready. As you do that, it settles, it stabilizes, and it strengthens your nervous and your energy systems so that you can hold the tension of discomfort longer. The value of that is so that then you can tend to your parts that are suffering.
Wow.
And eventually, you're not identified with your parts, but you are identified with your central self. And from there, you can turn towards the pain of your parts, whether it's a part of your anatomy, maybe it's a knee that's hurting, or whether it's an internal aspect of you that is a younger age, an older age, from a different life, however it shows up.
What is your understanding of this physical pain? Is it usually connected to some kind of an emotional pain, which is reflected as a physical pain? And that's one way. The other way is, are all the emotional pains reflected in a physical pain, or how does it work in the body mind connection? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of all or nothing
Yeah.
because there's so many ways things manifest. But painful emotions are physically painful. Let's just honor that. We say it hurts because it hurts. If it's sadness or excessive anger or whatever. So, as you were speaking in Ayurveda, things, if we simplify it, they either come from the mind and how we perceive or think about or understand things, or they come from the environment,
Yes.
right? So, I can tell you in my personal experience, my pain I later discovered originated in trauma, post traumatic stress. And so then that caused me to hold my body in certain ways. So it was a combination of the energy that was stored in my body that was painful and the physical way of holding my body working together. And then timing, right? I had been doing that all my life, but then at some point it's like, okay, here it is, time to deal with it. And this I found is common with clients. What I've learned about that is when it happens, you're ready. Even if you don't believe you are, you're ready. And help is available to support you through it. Even if you don't know that you have that help yet. Maybe you'll start Googling and your fingers will magically land you on some website where there's a helper that can support you in what is coming up because it wants your attention.
Yeah, in my experience, it's the same, but I didn't go through the journey. I didn't even know I had PT or post-traumatic stress. All I knew is I knew how to mask it so well. I didn't even register there's any stress. It's work stress. That's the name I gave.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually it
Yeah.
caught up with the body, and the body could not move. And I did not understand what's happening in the body. But then this body is arrested physically. And that's the wake up call. What is happening to me? Everything I'm exercising, I'm working, I've got an active lifestyle. So what has happened to my body? Like you said, that's when I started Googling to figure out how do I do? What do I do? And it took me into the meditation. So that you brought it up in your discussion as well, Gina. We will take this as the next part because it's quite deep, the meditation. There are so many ways of doing meditation, but the concept of meditation in SMGI is slightly different. Exactly the concept of how we connect to the body is so different in SMGI because the way I knew to connect to the body is, okay, there's a pain, go in, stay with the pain, stay there until the activation is processed and it's integrated. There are different methodologies in this world to do that. I practiced some heart-centered breathing because that's what I knew, but I had to stay with it. My tears will run. It's a very difficult process, and it took a long time for me to go into that. And there are other different therapies as well. Like I learned brain spotting as in my journey of what is happening to my body to figure out what's happening. One of the journeys I took is the brain spotting, in which they hold you in that activation and the therapist just holds you. He just holds you in that space, and it's me knowing that there is a witness. I'm going through the entire 1 hour by myself in my head. What I find so interesting and so different and so simple, and I would like to repeat this word again, simple, deceptively powerful in SMGI is you still connect us to that pain, but I'm not that in that pain for 1 hour in that activation with someone facilitating. Of course, it works. I'm not saying it's not working, the different method, but it's 1 hour of being in that. Here, it is not that 1 hour of being in the pain. And you explained it so beautifully that you are in two places. You're connected to the pain. At the same time, you're connected to the good place as well. It's the awareness of both. And from that good place, you are taking us on a journey. You are facilitating. I'm not alone processing it, integrating it in my own way. You are there guiding, talking, facilitating, even though you're not giving me, this is what you should do, Raji. It's not that. All you're doing is taking me one step at a time in my own way. That person is there with me, dialoguing all the time and guiding me how to go. I thought that is what I found in yours so powerful in this body and mind connection. I'm not sitting there with my body for an hour. I'm sitting there with the body, with the awareness, and someone guiding me, but not telling me what to do. Because I can talk about clinical hypnosis that I did the other time, which I am certified and I've got a diploma, where I actually tell people what to do. And it's been a journey from all that coming where I am. So I'm so happy to share this experience with you, where the body mind connection is so different in SMGI and so simple, deceptively powerful. Anything else you would like to add on this topic, Gina, in this body mind connection in SMGI?
You know, there has been research that people experience pain differently. And so we could say highly traumatized people or highly addicted people, which originates in trauma. The tolerance for pain may not be as much as another person's tolerance for pain. So to ask a highly traumatized person or highly addicted person to just be with that pain, it's overwhelming. And then the survival responses click in to help take them out. So whether they just become immobilized and frozen, whether they fly away mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So SMGI is here as a very gentle, moves very slowly. But as you have noted, it's deceptive because it allows you to actually move more quickly because you're going slow and gently. And we are skirting resistance. We're not overcoming resistance. We're not engendering resistance. That's part of its magic. When there's resistance, that's a signal. Stop, too much. And what do we say nowadays? No means no. We don't want to try to overcome that resistance. Now, I'm not saying that in a different context that might be just the perfect thing. There's all kinds of games and sports where you're overcoming the resistance, and even therapies or styles of meditation. And yet, this is really what makes it unique is its energetic quality of softness, of freedom, of agency. And it is informed by clinical hypnosis, and we do have direct suggestions. However, they're very invitationally offered. So if I say to you, Raji, would you breathe into your soft belly and then just move your attention to the right side of your brain and allow something to come to mind that feels good? I gave you a lot of instructions. I told you to breathe. I told you to go to your right brain. I told you to allow. And yet the way
Except
it's
you didn't
delivered
tell me.
is
Right.
Yeah. Go, but
Yeah.
see, your perception is that I didn't tell you, but I did actually tell you, go to your right brain and allow something to come to mind. But it's delivered in a way that is completely invitational. And so you have the sense that you're not being told what to do. And when we're told what to do, two things happen. Either it creates resistance or we immediately feel safe and surrender. So the way that that's delivered can facilitate a sense of safety and receptivity. This is what we're going for, is being receptive to the wisdom and the healing remedy that's inside you.
Overcoming resistance is not what we're doing in SMGI, isn't it? That's so clear. But what we've learned in life, or me, I've learned, is if there is a resistance, then you have to overcome and take the next bar. You know, it's almost like a challenge that I'm trying to fix. So by allowing and sitting with the resistance, which is not that easy, and it's not where I would comfortably go, there has to be a level of safety, if I can use the word, or a level of trust in the person that I'm doing or sitting there, to allow them or guide me to go into this discomfort, or staying with the resistance, not overcoming the resistance. So how much does the person with knowledge of SMGI has to do with whatever I am going through in the session? Is it sort of a trusting the doctor kind of thing, a doctor-patient thing, or is it my journey? It doesn't matter who is there.
It's a combination.
Yeah.
So it's not the doctor-patient model, but when you are sitting with me as your guide, I have a role and responsibility to support you in certain ways. And I'm inviting you to do things with your attention in your body and experience what you notice. So step by step, you're getting your own direct experience of how it's affecting you. So this creates a desire and a readiness and a willingness for you to continue exploring further. So it's not a feel the fear and do it anyway kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just move your attention into your body, notice your sensations. What are you noticing? And then what do you notice about how they change in response to your attention? As you just give a quality of attention that's non-judgy, non-blamey, not praising. And
if it intensifies, is there a way we can come out of it? And
Absolutely.
do it in a different way. Does SMGI allow for such flexibility? So for someone listening, they don't have to be so scared to go there, you know?
Yeah. It's very different because we don't ask anybody to sit with anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you just sit with that? Can you just be with that? That's actually a very challenging phrase.
Yes.
One of my students got an F when he was doing his final of guiding me, because he'd learned in his meditation class, and he said to me, can you just be with that? Right. And it was great informationally for me because I could feel what happened in my body and where my mind went. And I was no longer in a receptive state. Now I was being challenged. Can you just sit with that?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Of course I can. What else? Right. So there are these natural reflexes in us, depending on our history and just being a human being, where many ways that things are phrased are really perceived as challenging to the body. The body's ready. And so in SMGI, we're not challenging anyone. We're inviting them to explore and experience and to get resources so they feel safe and they feel comfortable. They've got allies with them. And then to invite any part of them that wants or needs their attention to come into their awareness, which will usually call out for their attention with some body sensation of discomfort. And it's usually mild. And then we help them follow that discomfort to what it's connected to and allow
You
an
ever
image to
had
come to mind.
anyone with an experience of very strong discomfort?
Yes.
And how would you work through with them? Because I don't want anyone listening thinking, the moment I say body mind connection in regular world, it's often what you said, sit, can you sit with that? You know, that's what I was offered too. Can you sit with that? And that is
You've been
something
sitting
I
with it
want to
most of
do.
your life.
It's so difficult, even though I trust them, even though I know that I'm in good hands, there is still this fear of, oh, I have to go and sit with that activation. I don't know I'm going to do immediately. My mind goes off somewhere else. So I just want this discussion between us in a much clearer way to our audience who were listening to understand that no, this is not about sitting with your discomfort, even though SMGI takes you to a level of feeling your discomfort. Or am I using the right word? Feeling or sensing the discomfort?
It doesn't take you there. I wouldn't say it takes you there.
Okay.
But it helps you be ready for any discomfort that wants your attention so that you can access the remedy for it. But a metaphor or analogy, I guess, analogy that's coming to mind is a wounded, frightened animal.
Yeah.
You don't just go sit with that wounded, frightened animal. That is perceived as threatening. But you
What
will
do you
let it
do?
know.
I don't know what to do.
What you do is softly just let it know you're aware of it. You notice it, you acknowledge it, you allow it space. And then you might bring the water bowl from a safe distance and just leave it there and let it know it's an invitation for you. So when we are working with traumatized people, which is really everyone, this is a great analogy because their animal nature is frightened, it's terrified, and it's easily threatened. So it's not about rushing in right next to the animal. I'm going to save you. Please understand. Or just going, I'm going to sit with you. That is threatening. You haven't been invited to do that. So when someone asks you to just sit with your pain, you've been sitting with it for much of your life already. And I'm not saying that it can't be productive and helpful and beneficial. Of course it is. Why would people keep doing it? But it's a very, very different way.
Sorry, I'm going to stop there. Why would people want to do that? It's because that's the method they have known until now. And that is why now I've come to SMGI thinking, oh, wow, this is different. I love this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, all of it is treasure. None of it's been wasted. It's all treasure. And it's all brought you benefit. Even if it didn't take away your pain, you learned something.
Yes.
right? So
It
yes,
prepared me to be more receptive to this, probably.
well, yes,
And
and the
not,
contrast.
yeah,
So
the
many people
contrast.
come to SMGI that have tried so many other things, and it's like a drink of water in the desert. And, I kind of refer to a lot of meditation styles as extreme sports, right? Because it's like the extreme sports of healing, because you have to like 10-day Vipassana retreat. You just have to just sit there for 10 days, not utter a word, or just be with the pain, or just stare at that candle flame and keep bringing your attention back, or whatever it is. It's all terrific boot camp, right? So you develop certain strengths and attributes, and you learn things about yourself. So it's all good. It's all good medicine. And this is just different medicine.
Yes. It's a different medicine. And not all of us would be ready for it. Like 2 years ago, if you had asked me, no, I wasn't ready for it. Because I was still in my mind, and I wanted to find answers through my mind, not my body. And it's only
Mhm.
when the body failed and it could not handle the stress anymore, I was trying to find an answer through body and mind. So trying to find something that will work for both. So it's a journey, I think, in life. We all take different paths.
Mm,
And then
yeah.
ultimately we come to one that works for us. But from my experience, I could say that I had taken different paths and I still explore different paths,
Mhm.
but I sit comfortably with SMGI because of the body mind connection and the gentle and the soft way. You said it's a softness, it's the freedom, and it's an agency. Those are the things that really appeal to me. So, and the wounded animal that you talked about, I can't think of any better example of explaining that, isn't it?
Mm.
Taking
Well,
the water really.
we do have animal natures, right? And
Yeah.
oftentimes the analogy that comes is a horse and rider. And
Yeah.
horses are known for being skittish, but also very intuitive. And so when the horse and the rider are working together as one, it's an extraordinary experience. So in that analogy, our soul or our spirit would be the rider and our body, the horse, and that can become our very best friend that has carried us through everything. But it's ideally we can lighten up on the riding crop, which most of us have, learned to use that crop pretty hard to get us going in the direction that we perceive that
Yes.
would be the best.
So, in the next episode, we will discuss about meditation as an extreme sport. Oh, there's a lot to explore on that and the mindfulness aspect. But before I finish this, when you talked about the horse and the rider, there is
Mm.
this saying or a spiritual understanding from where I come from. They say there are three things: your body, your mind, and the life force.
Mm-hmm.
Without your body, you will be a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the other two, mind, you will be a ghost. So there is nothing to experience in this world. I mean, what is your problem? There's no problem because you're a ghost. And maybe there are problems in the ghost world, but not here. But if you have a body and you don't have the mind, then the body will be, and the life force, three things, right? So if you have the body, but you don't have the mind and the life force, your body will be a vegetable. Still,
Mm-hmm.
there is nothing to think about because there is no mind. What is there to think about or worry about? So the way they explain it is if you are in this earth as a human being, then there is a body and a mind and a life force. All three have to exist together. One without the other doesn't make sense at all to be here. You won't be here. Anything that you do in this world is always connected to both your body and mind and the life force, the spirit or the soul or whatever different words that people use.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it makes such a sense that SMGI is bringing all these three together, or from my belief system, it makes me, as I said, coming home in a different way of experiencing that. But my tradition is meditation. So I'm going to talk about that a little more, about the difference between my traditional meditation and the meditation that, or mindfulness that you're bringing in. That is another insight for me. With that, I'm going to finish this episode about body and mind connection. Is there anything else you would like to add to this, Gina, before we complete? Or would you like to give us a mind connected 5 minutes guided imagery?
Sure. Yeah. So the topic of the body, the soma, your somatic experience, your experience of you in your body. I invite all of us, you, Raji, me, and your listeners, just to take a moment to move our attention into our bodies and just notice any sensations that are there, whether you like them or not, whether they feel good or don't. And then just let your attention move without directing it. Let your attention move to some place in your body that feels either pleasant or completely neutral. Just without efforting, without looking for it or seeking it out, just allow your attention to move to a place in your body where there are pleasant or neutral sensations. And if you're not sure that there is any place in your body with pleasant or neutral sensations, just breathe into your soft belly and allow yourself to imagine if there were a pleasant or neutral place in your body, where might that be? And just notice what happens in your body as you imagine in this way. And whatever you are noticing or not noticing, your body just experience the gift of your attention. The gift of your attention in a non-bossy, non-demanding, non-threatening way. Just allowing your attention to be drawn, to notice, to simply acknowledge what you're noticing and allow it to be as it is. And if your eyes are closed, just let them float open. And I would love to know from you, Raji, what was that like for you?
Peaceful.
That just tickles my fancy so much because I didn't ask you to go to a peaceful place, right? See how you just got, and your listeners will all have some version of their own experience that will be unique to them.
Yes. Thank you for guiding us through this, Gina.
My pleasure.
Thank you for your time. Until we meet next time.
I look forward to
Bye
that.
then.